Today I wanted to take you guys through some of my favorite special teams plays from Week 16 in the CFL season. We've got everything from game-winning field goals to huge punt returns, so let's get into it. The first game I want to take a look at today is the Hamilton Tiger Cats traveling over to BMO Field to take on the Toronto Argonauts. Hamilton kicker Mark Leggio had one of the best nights of his career. He went 6 for 6 on field goals and 2 for 2 on PATs. He consistently kept Hamilton in the game and even delivered a 48-yard game-winning field goal that was the first of his career. And by no means was this an easy kick for Mark Leggio and the field goal unit. I'm not sure exactly what was going on here, but the field at the BMO Stadium was in incredibly rough shape, and there were players slipping and falling all game long. You can actually see Mark Leggio's plant leg slip out from under him as he lets off this kick. Luckily for him, it didn't affect him, and they came out of there with the win. On the other side of the ball, Toronto kicker Liram Hawryluk had a pretty decent night, going 3 for 4 on field goals and 2 for 2 on PATs. His longest attempt of the night was a 49-yard field goal at the start of the game, and he even had his own last-minute field goal, this 29-yard attempt to give the Argos the late lead. I do want to give a shout out to Toronto long snapper Adam Gamet for his performance this week. Absolutely incredible what he's been able to do in a short time in the league, and the laces on this field goal were perfect. He actually invited me out onto the field after the game and gifted me a jersey of his, which is incredibly cool and an experience that I won't forget. Up next, we'll travel west for our next game, where the Saskatchewan Roughriders took on the Calgary Stampeders. I wanted to showcase this 32-yard return that Mario Alford brings all the way back out to his own 46-yard line. Coverage units shined with this 43-yard punt by Adam Korsak being fielded at the 10-yard line. Cam Eccles had run around the field like a chicken with his head cut off before coverage unit member Jackson Ford came up with the tackle. Here we'll see Calgary Stampeders punter Cody Grace launch a ball 45 yards downfield, takes a bounce, and Mario Alford fields it around his own 6-yard line before Calgary long snapper Aaron Crawford comes down with the tackle. And believe it or not, this actually wasn't his only coverage team's tackle of the game. On this 51-yard punt by Cody Grace, Aaron Crawford is the one who flies downfield and makes the tackle inside the 20-yard line, just showcasing how much of a weapon he can be on coverage teams. Now here's a prime example of how penalties can turn into points for the opposite team. You'll see on this punt by Adam Korsak that the Calgary rusher actually comes into contact with his kicking leg, earning himself a contacting the kicker penalty and extending the drive for the Rough Riders. A few plays later, Brett Lothar would come out for a 40-yard field goal. With a perfect snap by Jorgen Huss, the ball sails between the goalposts, and the Rough Riders extend their lead over Calgary late into the game. Moving on to the next game, where the Montreal Alouettes travel to Ottawa to take on the Red Blacks. This kickoff by Maltos is fielded at the 15-yard line before Tyrese Beverette delivers an absolutely back-breaking blow to prevent the returner from traveling past the 35-yard line. The Montreal coverage unit played a great game, and on this 42-yard punt by Joseph Zima, the backup long snapper Alexander Gagne makes a tackle after just a 2-yard return here. On the other side of the ball, the Ottawa Red Blacks coverage team really struggled, especially on this punt by Richie Leone. You'll see that James Letcher fields this ball around his own 24-yard line before booking it to the sidelines and evading a number of Red Blacks coverage team members. He sprints down the sideline and is able to get it into the Ottawa territory all the way out to the 30-yard line, which means that this return went for about 60 yards and was the biggest return that we saw all week long. After this return, Jose Maltos would come out for a 30-yard field goal in what was a pretty convincing win for the Montreal Alouettes. Speaking of field goals, I did want to mention that this short 18-yard field goal by Lewis Ward was his 251st of his career, which is an incredible accomplishment for the Ottawa kicker. Moving on to our last game here, where the Winnipeg Blue Bombers traveled to Edmonton to take on the Elks. The punters were the star of the show, with the Edmonton Elks punter Jake Julian actually moving into the 4th place for the all-time highest punting average in a single game, with 61.8 average yards over 4 punts. As of right now, Jake Julian is sitting at 54.7 average yards per punt across 82 attempts, and if he continues this pace through the end of the season, he'll easily break the record for the highest punting average set by John Ryan back in 2005 at 50.6 yards per punt. On the other side of the ball, Winnipeg Blue Bombers punter Jamison Sheahan might not have had the same distance on his punts, but he put on an absolute clinic in terms of directional punting, including this 47-yard punt that pretty much landed right on the hash marks at the sideline, forcing the returner out of bounds. Finally, I do want to highlight the performance set out by Edmonton Elks kicker Boris Beattie in the face of adversity, as he has had plenty of fans as well as the coaching staff questioning his abilities as of late. But he was perfect on the night, making his only convert attempt as well as 2 field goals, including this 45-yarder when the game was out of reach. On the ensuing kickoff, he would come out and actually fake an onside kickoff attempt here, but when they saw that Winnipeg didn't have anybody sent back deep to retrieve a ball, he ended up launching it 84 yards through the end zone for a rare kickoff rouge to make the score that much closer. And that will be a wrap on week 16 of the CFL special teams action. Let me know down in the comments which play was your favorite, and I'm going to go ahead and leave you with a couple of the other honorable mentions that I wasn't able to include in this video. If you like this kind of content, feel free to hit the like and subscribe button, and if you really want to help the channel out, go ahead and watch one of my previous special teams videos. It really helps. Thanks, and have a good day.